Well, first and foremost is that the DA reluctantly accepted the EFF vote, and the EFF can just pull the plug anytime they want. They've done it before. Look, the EFF strategy persists in these coalitions. They called the DA to the table to say, let's have a coalition. The DA said no, and they said that it's fine. We'll give you our vote anyway, and we'll still achieve what we will still achieve, even if we were in a coalition with you anyway. We will threaten to collapse the coalition. We'll make demands on you. That's what's going to happen. Because as long as you don't have an agreement on the common purpose, you don't have an agreement as to what is it that will be pursued by those coalitions, we know the only pattern that is left remaining to be observed is that of disruption. That's what we have seen since 2016 local government election. And I think that is what the EFF is playing here. The EFF, remember, does not want to take accountability for any council placed under governed through a coalition, but they want to get the maximum returns out of those coalitions.
And what do you think is ActionSA's future? They were the big surprise of this local election. Do you think, I've heard Dr. Krokamp said that in BizNews that ActionSA will be the second largest party in 2024. Do you think that's a possibility and that Mashaba can be the premier of Gauteng?
It is not unthinkable that they can be the second largest party. It's all about what they do from now. Let me tell you something that I've observed about ActionSA. I sit with Mashaba. He's a good friend of mine. I can call him that. I disagree with him politically, but one thing I'll always tell you about him is his genuineness when he presents his issues. He can be wrong. I disagree with him on a lot of issues, publicly so. He will write an opinion article stating how crazy I am that I've never run a party. But I know he's very genuine. And South Africa's politics lack that genuineness in it. And I think that because he's not part of the system, if they can remain not part of the system and consolidate, they are a party to watch. Because one thing after this election that they come out clear is that they're coming out as votable. I don't know if you know what I mean. And I don't even know if there is a word such as that, but let me try to explain what I mean. Here is a party that nobody knows, formed out of anger with the DA. Mr. Mashaba came about, some consultation, and performed as if he was an established institution. And a lot of people, I would say, I heard them speaking about him, but I don't think he came out as votable because he was never voted as ActionSA. But the amount of vote they have attained in this election might inspire a lot of confidence that this party is actually votable. And I think they're a big threat to the EFF. I had a model that I thought it was settling down. It was being broken into pieces. And just a quick display, a quick explanation. My model was that when it comes to the opposition parties in South Africa, position number 1 and number 2 have always went to the ANC and the DA. Position 3 usually went to another new party. It will be COPE, it will be the EFF. But the EFF was the first one to occupy position 2 election on election. In their maiden, position 3, in their maiden election in 2014, in 2019. But that looks like it's going to be disturbed, because I don't think they will remain number 3 dominant party. There's going to be a lot of commotion when it comes to what is the second and the third party. And ActionSA might be part of the movement around in those lines.
Absolutely. And I think it can spell a death blow to the EFF if Julius Malema were to be charged for a crime, because there's so many charges racking up against him. But do you think Mashaba can be bitter at times, and that bitterness is tarnishing his objectivity towards the Democratic Alliance or working with the Democratic Alliance?
I think political maturity based on experience, or political maturity comes with experience as well. I do think that, look at what they've done. They rejected the idea of the coalition, the way in which they were dictated, but they still voted to remove the ANC. So it's not totally lost within the opposition. I do think indeed there are personalities, there are egos within the opposition. Mr. Mashaba speaks his mind. He speaks his mind, no doubt about it. and he might come across as someone who is not willing to compromise. But I do think if you look at how the opposition parties performed, including the EFF, they even if it was a reluctant vote, they still achieved something, which is to threaten the political base of the dominant party, that is the ANC. That on its own means that they can actually go back and talk. I mean, they voted together. Why can't they go back and try to explain what they've just done in terms of saying, look, let's have a coalition then. I mean, we are where we are. We accidentally formed government out of our common despise of the ANC. Why don't we just allow this accident to be something else? Why can't we work towards a coalition? Why can't we share power? And Mashaba spoke about that idea of co-governing and sharing power. Why can't the DA also come around on that as well? The DA also as well. I mean, the relationship between Mashaba and the DA, no doubt, it has got impact on whether you form coalition in Johannesburg, Gauteng, because of the history. But I think they can overcome that.
Doctor, do you think ActionSA has an appeal outside of Gauteng? Do you think they can, for example, expand their base in a place like KwaZulu-Natal?
I think that anything is possible. I mean, South Africans are very forgiving to new parties. If you look at the percentage of vote that ActionSA has attained, you ask yourself, what is it that the party has achieved? I mean, it's no more than, it has not existed for more than 3 years. So it is about South Africans' willingness to try out new things, as long as you don't come tainted or excessively tainted, if you like. So I do think that there is an opportunity to go outside, to go to other areas out there. I mean, Mashaba has been a businessman whose business has actually reached those areas. One or another, he should know how to go back and take his politics back there. He should know the model. He should have a model in place.